Welcome to the Between Tides podcast, sponsored by Portage Learning. If you're looking to build a brighter future, consider taking an online college course with us. Learn more at portagelearning.edu. And now, on to our featured episode. Scott Fracul, welcome to the podcast, man.
It's great to be here. Great to see you.
Michelle and I, we're so excited to talk to you today because we believe your story mirrors the same journey as many of our Portage Learning students, where they may have started in one career and then in their late 20s, early 30s, pivoted in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to explore today, that in this day and age, for people in their 30s, it makes sense to switch careers, and you're living proof of that. So Scott, let me start with this one.
Sure.
Maybe tell us about your initial career and what attracted you toward that direction.
Sure. Okay. So I graduated high school in 1987, local from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And I really was interested in art, graphic art and illustration, all through high school. Even when I was younger, I was the kid that drew pictures. So I looked into the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. And I went there for 2 years from 87 to 89, and I graduated. I got a couple small jobs in graphic arts, and then happened to join our local newspaper, which was the Newcastle News. And I worked there for 10 years. Great career. I was working in graphic arts, art department, advertising department. And throughout my time there, it was interesting. We were bought, I think maybe sold a couple times. A couple different companies took over the newspaper. And what led me in eventually to get into looking for a different career was we started doing training on electronic media and things like that. And, oh, this is going to be the future of newspaper. This is going to be the future of media. And I kept seeing the future of the newspaper that I was working at. And I wasn't quite sure if the actual physical paper was going to be there anymore in the future. And I started thinking and talking to my wife, hey, maybe I need to look, for another career. Probably a big person that influenced me going to nursing school and changing my career was a really good friend of mine who was a nurse in the Army. And I told him I was thinking about doing it. The newspaper industry, unfortunately, was just in a I don't want to call it a spiral, but it was going downhill. And he said, you're a personable person. You really easily talk to people, and you're a caring person. You should really look into nursing. And that's what he did in the military. And I started checking it out, and I said, I think that might be for me.
So before you made the jump, and maybe a little bit after, what fears or doubts did you experience?
Definitely. I wasn't at that time somebody that was that would easily accept change. And crazy enough, I remember a line from when we went to some training in the advertising department at the news. And this line they kept pounding into our head is, do not fear change, embrace it. And just ironic that I'm thinking of this line from this training, and I'm going like, you know what? That's, yeah, right. Why? I was afraid I'm going to leave my job. My wife and I, we had a home, and didn't have any kids yet. I'll get to that. But, I haven't been in school for all these years. I was a BC student. All I wanted to do was draw pictures and go to art school. And that was my plan. And I wanted to work for Disney. And you can't do that from Western Pennsylvania. So, yeah. Again, my friend, Army nurse, he just starts talking to me about what nurses do. And I think he even gave me some literature at that time. And the internet was there, but it wasn't what it is now. AI wasn't, obviously there at all, but, and I just started reading about what nurses do and the possibilities of healthcare and all the jobs that were available. So, I went and talked to the publisher of the Newcastle News, and Tim and I know Max was the publisher at the time, and they were going to start to lay off people at the newspaper. And I went into his office and I said, "Hey, I want you to lay me off instead of somebody else or a couple people in the advertising department." And I kind of stunned him. And I'd worked there for 10 years. And I said, I'm going to change my career. I'm going to go to nursing school. So he really took care of me, you know, kind of gave me a severance package that, yeah, that helped my family out with some health insurance for a little bit. And crazy enough, whenever I left the news, the state of Pennsylvania was actually desperately trying to find people to go to nursing school. So they actually helped with tuition. Yeah. So that kind of helped me out. So yeah, I think probably one of my bigger influences was my friend, Jonathan. He was a nurse in the Army, and he's now a nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner in Lawrence County. So great guy. And talking to my wife, that was a big influence too. She was the biggest support system. And sorry, I'm getting emotional because I wouldn't have been able to do anything that I've done in my career without her. Yeah, it was just amazing. I went to working at the Newcastle News as an artist, getting into nursing school, becoming a registered nurse. I did that for 6 years. And then all the time I was a registered nurse, and we can get to this story in there, I discovered nursing anesthesia around that time. And that was my focus, to become a nurse anesthetist. So working as a nurse for 6 years, and my goal was to get into anesthesia school. And when I did that, you have to quit your job, basically, when you're in anesthesia school. It's extremely difficult to work and go to anesthesia school. It's so time consuming. It's full time yeah.
So let me double click on that. Yeah. So walk us through the conversation you had with your wife when you first decided to jump ship, and then when you said, "Hey, I need to quit my job. I want to go to anesthesia school." Talk about that.
So amazing parents. My parents were awesome, helped us. Her parents were incredible, and I'll get to that. I can remember talking to her about that because I would come home from work, and Tim and I both enjoyed working at the news. I mean, we loved what we would do. I got to dabble in graphic arts, and I did advertising things, but it was just getting really bad in advertising. Revenues were down and companies weren't spending their money, and you could just see things going a little bit south. And I questioned whether or not I was going to have a position there or a career in advertising in the future. And I remember going home and talking to my wife, because she would see me when I would come home, and I wasn't the same person that I was before. I was kind of miserable when I would get home, and just kind of lost. What am I going to do? Because you're thinking of your family. Yeah. You know, I like, you want to pay your bills, and you want to be able to do all those things that you need to do. Yeah. Yeah. Food is good. Sorry. But I remember her sitting down, and she was just, then let's do it. You know, when I talked to her, like,
from day one.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was a rock. Yeah. And she supported me so much. She continued to work. And so I'm in, and I eventually get into nursing school. I don't know when you want to cut in what I had to do to get into nursing school.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah. And I remember being in nursing school, and I remember her come up to me and go, just personal wise, "Hey, we had been trying to have a family." And I remember her coming up to me going, "By the way, we're pregnant."
By the way.
Yeah.
By the way.
So I remember that. So I quit my job.
Hello.
Of 10 years. I was like halfway through. So it was a 2-year program. So it was a little different than, it wasn't a college program. It was an associate degree through Jameson School of Nursing, which still exists, and they still do a 2-year program.
Yeah.
But now it's UPMC, Jameson School of Nursing. So I'm halfway through the program, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be a dad. My wife and I are gonna be parents. We tried for a while, and we just had, finally had success. So that was even more motivation. Like, okay, I got, we're gonna have a child, so I got to do this. I gotta, focus and study. And I really get. I'm kind of a type A personality, and to be a nurse anesthetist, you have to be one. And I just went full tilt. I got straight A's in nursing school, and while my wife is in Jameson Hospital getting ready to deliver, a woman came in to put her epidural in. And she chit-chatted with us, super nice lady. And she said, put my wife's epidural in. My wife got really comfortable. I was like, thank you so much. She's like, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a nursing student. And she goes, oh yeah? She goes, well, I'm a nurse. And I was like, what do you mean you're a nurse? I thought she was a doctor. She probably told me she was a nurse anesthetist, but went in one ear and out the other. Sure. And I was new to that. I don't think we covered labor and delivery yet in nursing school. So she's like, yeah, you're a nurse. You're a nursing student. I said, sure. She goes, well, I'm a nurse anesthetist. I was a nurse, and I went on to more specialized training and became a certified registered nurse anesthetist. And I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. So she started talking to me and telling me about what she did to become a nurse anesthetist. And I was just intrigued because I really like the science aspect of it. I like interacting with the patients and the people. And she invited me to go into the operating room with her and shadow her. So I got to do that, and I did it. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So from that point on, after I shadowed her, I was just like, I'm going to get into anesthesia school.
And let me ask you something there too, because I understand you studied under our founder, Ken Hartman.
Sir,
Scott's an OG.
what the heck? Oh my God.
So tell us about the early days.
That's what he told me. So yeah. So I had been, obviously, I graduated in 1987 from high school, from Shenango High School. And my entire focus when I was in high school was drawing pictures, which I'm laughing now, but to anybody out there, I mean, I thought about this when I was thinking about some things to talk to you about. I said, boy, I wish somebody would have talked to me back when I was in high school. I'm not joking. Like, there's a story of when I graduated from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I'm at graduation ceremony, and we have what's called portfolio review, where we bring out our best artwork, and we basically, you have a little booth space to yourself, and you're trying to find a job. Wow. And I was at the graduation ceremony. Didn't have much luck. I was actually pretty good too. Tim will tell you. I was pretty good. And we took a break, and I'm hanging out at the graduation ceremony with all the booths and the portfolio reviews going on. And this guy walked up to me and he says, so what are you here for? And I said, oh, I'm graduating from art school. I'm here for ceremony and portfolio review. He goes, let me tell you something about art. He goes, you draw pictures in your spare time. You go to school and get a degree, become a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman. And
was that my father?
So this is at my portfolio review that I just graduated from art school. And this guy's telling me, go get a degree in something that's going to make you some money for your family. He goes, do the art on the side. And I just said, oh, I was polite to him. I said, yeah, thanks for the advice. And I walked away and I was like, wow, man, where were you? Like 2 years. Well, it was 2-year program. Art school was 2-year program. It was like a slap in the face. And then all these years later, I still remember that. I still remember the guy's face.
Do you know him at all, or was it just a stranger?
It was just a stranger. Yeah, that walked up to me and said that. And I was like, that was really good advice. But I wish somebody in high school would have been able to talk to me and go, listen, maybe say something similar. I know everybody has passions and different people are good at different things. I was really good at art. But I wish I would have been able at that time. We didn't have computers very much in high school at that time. So to do the research that I could have done and looked up the different careers and You know, okay, how much do you make doing this type of career? How much do you make doing this? What are the prospects for the future? Man, I that didn't exist. We had counselors, you know, at school, but it just wasn't what it is now. So I think if they would have been convincing enough, yeah, I would probably would have. If they would have showed me some statistics, you know, I can't talk statistics.
Sure.
Maybe to, you know, just to show you the prospects for the future and things like that. It might have hit home a little bit. Maybe not. I was a high school kid, just like every other high school kid.
Right.
I'm right, you're wrong. So yeah.
So let's go back. So
Yeah, go
again,
ahead.
you're
So
going to
yeah,
Geneva studying with
yeah.
Dr. Ken
So
Hartman.
I'm gonna go to nursing school, and they talk to me, and they go like, all right, our next class starts X in the near future, maybe a few months away, 3 months, something like that. And they're like, you didn't take chemistry in high school. In order to get into our nursing program here at Jameson School of Nursing, you need chemistry. You need a high school equivalent. I was like, I didn't know where to get that, so they led me straight to Geneva College, and I called him
Dr. Ken.
and Dr. Ken, and he's, yeah, come on in. You know, it was extremely reasonably priced, and he brought me a chemistry book, and he goes, all right, gave me some printouts, and here's your assignment. This was old school. It wasn't on the computer, and it wasn't through any type of recorded media or anything. I had to go home, do my homework, and he would tell me what, you know, come back this date with your assignment done. And he would look at it, we'd go over it. He'd spend time with me and going, oh, you know, you missed this one, this is why. And, you know, you're doing good here. You know, I never balanced equations before for chemistry or formulas and anything. So
So
yeah,
it started
I had to
there,
take
and
that.
look where you're sitting now, how we've transformed over the last
It's
25
crazy.
years.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
It's absolutely crazy. So
So you finish that and you get into
I get into nursing
school.
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So get into nursing school again, and did really well in nursing school. And I remember the conversation that the nurse anesthetist had with me. She's like, you have to get straight A's in nursing school, or else you're not going to get into anesthesia school if that's what you want to do. And she also told me, obviously, I need a bachelor's degree. So this was an associate program. So you got to graduate. And I did. You know, I wasn't top of my class, but I was pretty close. I got straight A's in my program, and I took it very seriously. I would come home from class. I would, you know, eat dinner with my wife and kids, and baby at that time. So it was only one. And then I would do my homework, which was really weird to me in my 30s, doing my homework. And then I would get up, go to clinical the next day. We had to go to clinical in the hospital and learn what to do. So as soon as I graduated from nursing school, you have to sit for your boards, which you have to study for that, which takes a lot of time too. So once you're getting towards the end of your program, you start studying for your boards. Same with anesthesia. You have to start studying for boards. And I passed my boards, and I started working. One of our clinical sites was Heritage Valley Health System in Beaver, and they actually offered me a job, and I took it there. So I worked there 6 years as a registered nurse, 3 on a regular floor, when I say regular floor, and 3 years as a critical care nurse. So being a critical care nurse is one of the prerequisites for getting into an anesthesia program. You have to work at least a year in critical care. So as soon as I started working at Heritage Valley Beaver as a brand new wet behind the ears nurse, I started an online bachelor's program at Slippery Rock University. So yeah, I did that. So you have to get your bachelor's degree to get into anesthesia school too. Wow. And I did that, and I got straight A's in that. That was, again, what you wanted to do. You get in anesthesia school, you have to have straight A's. I've just been fortunate enough to have opportunities that were there that I took advantage of. I'm working as a registered nurse in Heritage Valley Beaver in the critical care unit, and I'm applying to anesthesia schools. So I got to know a couple of the anesthesia doctors that worked at the hospital, and they had their own anesthesia group. So it was private. So not all anesthesia groups that do anesthesia and provide anesthesia services for hospitals are owned by the hospital. Sometimes they're a private group owned by doctors, typically. And I ran across one doctor, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Talk to each other, just socializing." I said, I'm actually trying to get into anesthesia school." And he said, "I tell you what, we do this for some people. If you get into anesthesia school, we'll pay your tuition.
Wow.
But you have to come and work for us when you're done." And I said, "Seriously?" And he's like, yeah, just if you agree to come and work for us for X number of years, we'll actually pay your tuition while you're going to school.
That's incredible.
So I got in. Another thing I had to do was take, I'm trying to remember the name of the test, the GRE exam. That was a prereq to get into the anesthesia school that I got into. So I guess just to show that you can get into a master's program. And I laugh when I tell people, because I'll talk to students about it, and I'll just say, crazy enough, the greatest study guide I ever had was GRE for Dummies. So that really helped me. Again, I'd been out of school all these years, and I get accepted to anesthesia school, and I'm 40 years old. Again, going back to school.
Wow.
So at age 40, I wasn't the oldest in my anesthesia class, but I was close. They only took 17 people in my class. It was small.
Super competitive.
Yeah, to get in, super competitive. I went to St. Elizabeth Hospital, School of Anesthesia, and it's and they work with YSU too. So my degree is technically a master's of nursing from YSU, and then a specialty in anesthesia. So
That's really cool.
yeah. So, but I was able to take advantage of that and get financial help from these doctors while I was going to school, which is kind of unheard of now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what's the typical breakdown at a hospital? How many nurse anesthetists are there? How many anesthesiologists?
Sure. So in the state of Pennsylvania, we're under medical direction, meaning I'm working under the supervision of a doctor, which can be an MD or a DO. So at my facility, and I think most facilities too, one physician can watch and monitor 4 nurse anesthetists. So that person can have 4 CRNAs working underneath them simultaneously. So I work at a smaller hospital. Beaver's kind of a smaller community hospital. So we'll have typically in a day 3 anesthesiologists monitoring like 12 total nurse anesthetists. And Tim and I just had that. We made an article about that not too long ago. So anesthesiologist is a medical doctor, be it an MD or a DO. So they have a doctoral degree. They go to medical school, they do their residency, and then they do a specialty in anesthesia. So if you wanted to do that, let's say instead of doing anesthesia, you're basically, you graduate from high school, you're basically doing 12 or 14 more years of education on top of that. Yeah. So it's really intense to become a medical doctor. So, yeah.
So as we're recording, you just got off a 24-hour shift. Tell us about this crazy schedule that you people work under.
So not everybody does
Okay.
24-hour shifts. We would be, that's our call shift, we call it. I personally do a 24-hour shift, and I also do 2 8-hour shifts in other days of the week. So that's 40 hours. I come in at 7 a.m. Well, yesterday morning, I came in at 7 a.m. and then I stayed in the hospital till 7 a.m. the next day. When I'm doing my call shift, I'm covering the labor and delivery unit. So whoever comes in for a C-section or somebody that wants to come in and get an epidural for labor, I'll take care of the epidural for them as well. Different hospitals do it differently. Some hospitals, the anesthesiologist will do the epidural, but at our facility, the nurse anesthetists do the epidurals. And it's great working in labor and delivery. I really like it to get people comfortable so they can deliver comfortably.
So would you say that's your most rewarding aspect of your role?
I think it is
Okay.
one of them, and then you get to see the baby
Hmm.
afterwards. It's great to be part of that experience. You get a lot of nice patients, and it's an exciting time in
Mm.
people's lives when they're having their first baby and they get to hold the baby in front of you and you get to watch the baby being born.
So this might be a random question. After you administer the anesthesia,
Sure.
what is your role in between then? What do you do
Oh, yeah.
otherwise?
So I can go over that really quickly. So when we'll take a patient, we meet him in the pre-op area. And the unique thing about this is, I guess, I'll go to the pre-op area with a registered nurse. Each operating room has a nurse, a surgical tech or a scrub tech, they call them. Those are the people that are at the field with the doctor, the surgeon. They hand them instruments. You've seen it on television. So that's a surgical tech exactly. And I don't know the names of all the instruments. No. So, so the nurse and I will go and meet the patient. We'll meet their family. So we only have 5-8 minutes to become really acquainted with them. I know their medical history because I look the patient up on the computer before we go back, so I can familiarize yourself with their medical history, allergies, and things like that. I talk to my anesthesiologist who has already met them before I do. So we'll discuss our plan, what type of anesthesia we're going to give. And, we do that as a team. The nurse and I go and pick the patient up. Typically at our hospital, we give them a little bit of something to help them relax for the trip back to the operating room, just to take the edge off.
Do
Sure.
they know about it, or is it like,
No,
hey,
it's
have
not.
a
No,
glass?
yes, no. It's an informed consent thing.
Oh,
We have to
okay.
say,
I thought it was like
we ask,
kind
yeah,
of a
would you
nice-
like something to help you relax
That's
on the
really
way
good.
back?
Been there. That's good stuff too.
No, we typically give a drug called midazolam. It's called Versed, and it's just something that gives you a touch of amnesia, and it really takes the edge off. It really calms you down and relaxes you. And like the crazy thing is, it has some amnestic effects. It gives you amnesia,
That is so cool.
so you don't really remember a lot after you give it. I've had entire conversations with people, take them back to the operating room, and I'll take them to the recovery area after the surgery, and they won't remember even having those conversations with us. So we'll take them into the room, in the operating room. We hook them up to all the monitors that we have to, blood pressure cuff, monitor their heart, pulse ox, oxygenation. And the anesthesiologist and I will get the patient off to sleep. They typically will administer the drugs that get you off to sleep. And we place whatever type of breathing device is appropriate for that surgery. Not all surgeries need a breathing device, like you see on TV the breathing tube people put in. We do use those, and there's different devices too that we use. Some procedures will do a sedation, so where you don't need anything down in your airway, you just have a little oxygen mask on, and we get you off to sleep. After we get the patient off to sleep, the doctor stays there, make sure everything's going well with the patient getting off to sleep. That's a really important time because typically when we give you large doses of medicine to get you off to sleep, it'll lower your blood pressure, can lower your heart rate. That's when you'll see some side effects from that medication. The doctor stays there until they know the patient's stable, and then they'll go on. They might have to go to another room to start another case, or they'll have to go see their next patients for the other rooms that they're doing. And my job is to stay there, monitor the patient's vital signs. Fortunately, electronic charting is amazing nowadays. I used to do it on paper, but all the vital signs that you see on the screen, the heart rate and the oxygen saturation, they all get transmitted to a computer, and I don't have to focus on writing them down like I used to when I first started. So I get to monitor the patient, make sure they're safe, their vital signs are where they need to be, give them pain medicine, or give them other medicine that they need. Just it depends on the situation. So I'm in there the entire surgery. So whenever we go to wake the patient up, we contact the anesthesiologist. That's kind of the big important time during surgery. The surgery is obviously important too, but waking the patient up is the really challenging part of the surgery sometimes. So for us, so they'll come in, we'll make sure that breathing device is out, the patient's breathing adequately, and their vital signs are stable. We take them to the recovery area. So
This could be a stupid question too, but
No,
what do you do? Like smack them? Like how do you wake
no,
them up?
no,
You shake them,
no.
or what do you?
Yeah. It's stimulating. There's different techniques to wake people up. We can wake you up when there's still a bunch of anesthesia on board. We just pull that breathing tube out after we get them breathing adequately. You won't even know it. And we'll put a little oxygen mask on them and take them to recovery, and they'll just gently wake up in recovery.
Mm.
That's one technique. The other technique is to get them wide awake. I get rid of all the anesthesia gas because we do use anesthesia gas to keep you asleep. And we'll get rid of that gas, and the patient will start to wake up. We'd like to get that breathing tube out before they're completely awake. It's pretty stimulating taking it out. You cough, and it can be stimulating. We get that breathing tube out and give them some oxygen again. So a couple different ways to wake people up.
So Scott, I know you speak to a lot of high school students, some younger people about career opportunities. Let's fast forward maybe a decade. They're 28, 29, 30. What advice would you give someone at that stage who is already working and, like you, is considering a career in healthcare? What would you tell them?
Do a lot of research.
Mm.
Obviously, internet, amazing. Make sure that what you want to get into healthcare wise, be it nursing, perfusion, physician's assistant, is what you want to get into. I unfortunately had a couple people that I started nursing school with, and again, I'm in my early 30s, and they just didn't really grasp the concept of nursing. Maybe they saw the television version of it at the time, and they didn't realize what they were getting into in nursing school. They thought nurses gave pills, took vital signs, and charted. There's a lot of things that nurses have to do, and I paid my dues and did them all as well, with body fluids and blood and things like that. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to take care of people, whatever their needs are. I've bathed thousands of people. I've cleaned up thousands of people after, anything you could imagine. But they weren't ready for that. I had 2 people drop out of the nursing program. I remember that because they were like, wow, we didn't know you had to do this. You had to bathe people. You had to clean up all this, things that humans do.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a stunner to me that people would, yeah, they didn't think about that. They kind of thought it was like a television nurse. So
You say it with so much dignity. Like I
I'm
feel like
trying
it would
to.
be very easy to be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, to be crude or funny about it, but I
Sure.
love that you're being so respectful about
Yeah.
things that
And
people can't really help.
yeah. You learn a lot about people. I never talked about this. I guess one of the neat things that I did, neat, it was neat in my eye, that really gave me respect for patients and their families is while I was in nursing school, I just wanted to make a little bit of money on the side. And this was for my registered nurse program. I worked as like a nurse's aide in a psychiatric unit. And that was really eye opening for me. To see the struggles that people would go through as a psychiatric patient. A lot of our patients were basically there for almost like a drug rehab purpose. They were getting off of their addiction. And then about maybe 30% of them were there for actually true psychiatric reasons. And that was amazing to me that the things these folks will go through. And if you're not a compassionate person, you shouldn't be looking into nursing. You have to do it for the right reason. And, people say, I really want to be a nurse. Well, it's a great job. You do make some good money for what it is. You can go to a 2-year nursing program or a 4-year nursing program, graduate, and you could start making really good money at a great job. But you have to get into it for the right reason. Yeah, that's a big part of it. So, yeah.
So what have you learned about yourself throughout this entire process?
Wow. That's deep. Um,
Excuse me.
I never thought I would be able to uh, go back to school and excel, just bookwork and studying. I just looked at myself. It's weird how you look at yourself. Oh, the graphic artist guy. And again, B and C student in high school. And it surprised me that how much that I could learn and focus and excel in getting the grades that I got. Um, just because I think I mentioned it to you. I don't know if I mentioned it so far here. You have to get straight A's in your bachelor's program for nursing to get into anesthesia school because it's so competitive. As we mentioned before, everybody gets straight A's that wants in.
Yeah.
So you really have to excel. That kind of surprised me how I was able to focus even more as somebody that's older than I did in high school. You know, um, but when you want something that bad, you have to be able to do that.
Do you look at yourself in a way where it's like, I feel like I can do so many things that I never thought that I could do anymore?
I never pictured myself doing nursing or being a nurse anesthetist at all. That no, I was always the art guy.
Yeah.
So I think I surprised myself in that aspect that I've always been, and I'll just say it, I've always been a nerd. I really like science. And so I think that was something that really led me to this as well. There's so much science involved in anesthesia. Uh, just the medications that we use and the anesthesia gas and the technology we use in the anesthesia machine itself is amazing to me. We had to learn all the parts of it, the science behind it and the physics behind it and the chemistry. So never pictured myself doing anything like that. When you're in school and they ask you, hey, for extra credit, you actually have to write down the chemical formula for one of the gases we use called sevoflurane. So we would map out all the molecules and label it.
Wow.
That, yeah,
Just off the
that,
top of your head.
yeah, that was something you had to learn. So just, yeah.
So has it all been worth it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Definitely. So, the only thing I regret with my career is I wish I would have been able to talk to somebody, like I said earlier, in high school. I wish I would have did this right out of high school. That would be, I've been working on a time machine, but it just hasn't panned out yet. So,
Maybe one day.
right? Again, nerd. But yeah, I wish I would have did this earlier, but that wasn't my path.
Yeah.
So I just went on the path I was supposed to go on.
But you are not alone. As Michelle and I were talking before, your story really does match the journey of a lot of our students, and it's amazing. I think
amazing.
as you mentioned, you tend to even lock in more because you have so much gratitude about you're able to do this now.
Yeah. Again, the support system. If you can, your spouse, significant other, I mean, that's a really important part of this whole equation. When you want to go back to school, and you're an older person, you might have a kid, or you might be a single mom, you might be a single dad. It's something that becomes your focus because you want to do this for them. You want to do it for your family, and you want to do it for your kid, and to better yourself. That's your goal, to become a better person and get a better job so you can take care of your family. And once you do that, you become laser focused on what you need to do. I went to school with some really great people in nursing school and anesthesia school. And in nursing school, there was quite a few people that were in their late 20s, early 30s, changing careers. And they all kind of had the same goal, to get a better job and to make a better life for themselves and their family. So it changes you. So.
Well, I'd like to ask this one. Is there anything that you were hoping we would ask you today?
Ooh, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's amazing to me though that the circle we kind of went through when when you told me who started this program that you guys have here.
You
And
started with our founder.
that's yeah, that's amazing to me. So really wild. I get to work with a lot of great people, and just interacting with the other nurse anesthetists and the physicians that I work with. They're amazing people. And it can be challenging sometimes because you deal with a lot of sick people. And I didn't bring this up, but there are times when things don't turn out the way you want them to. But when you get to be involved taking care of a patient with the surgeon, the nurses in the room, and my colleagues and the physicians I work with, and you get to basically help somebody and save their life as a team. And again, I can't take credit for this. It's a team environment. We all work together. But if we can take a really sick person that they're probably going to pass away if they don't have the surgery that you're that you're involved in, and you go through the entire surgery. And I've been in surgeries that have taken 12 hours, 14 hours long. And then in the end, you take them to critical care. And then maybe the next day you go, hey, I'm going to go check on my patient. I was involved in this really complex case. And they're awake and they're sitting there in bed and they remember you. I guess that's the really cool part. When you took part in basically keeping somebody alive so they can be with their family some more and live, basically. That's it. It's a great thing when you go and talk to somebody the next day and they're like, hey, thank you. And you're like, hey, I'm just part of the team that took care of you. So yeah, that's probably the best thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you
Thanks.
have to do the sign off.
No,
I was just thinking,
I'm sorry.
Otherwise it's a-
I don't want to make you cry.
No,
No, but it is. It's amazing.
good.
It's rewarding. It's rewarding for that. Just for that.
Scott, that's a mic drop, man. I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I know you
Yeah,
had a
thank you.
literal full day of work
It's okay.
before you came in here. So thank you again for your time, man. We really appreciate it. It's been
Listen,
awesome.
it's my pleasure.
And for those of us who are watching, who will be watching, we're going to be on YouTube. You could check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you can download a podcast. We'd love to hang out with you again. So Scott, thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for joining us.